What's going on there, folks? Good morning. It is Sunday morning, May 1st, 2022. It's about 11 a.m. California time. Latest quake on the globe shows a 3.9 earthquake in the area of Puerto Rico. Or actually, not Puerto Rico, my mistake in there. Over here around the Costa Rica region. Let's go ahead and check out this activity on the USGS map. It just had Puerto Rico in my mind for some reason. But it looks like it's off the coast of Nicaragua area. Pull up that map. There we go. 3.9 down there at about 27 kilometers. Now this earthquake here is according to the CSEM EMSC model. I don't know if the USGS has issued that yet or not, but then again, it's below the 4.0 threshold. They do show some activity up here into the Guatemala area. Looks like that one just off the coast there, 4.3 at 58 kilometers. So nonetheless, a little bit of movement here taking place in the Middle America Trench today. Puerto Rico seen a little bit of activity, but overall it's been generally quiet in this region. We did have one earthquake here around the San Juan area, a 3.8 at 97 kilometers. Otherwise, that area is extremely quiet. Let's go ahead and look at the states up here where we did see some movement up into the Washington area. Notice the activity that has been added here onto the map. So this is the last 24 hours of movement, all magnitudes. If you look at my past couple updates here, we've seen nothing showing up. So it looks like they may have got to the activity a little bit. There's still a lot more that needs to be added here on this map, obviously, but it looks like they're reporting some. A 3.6 earthquake just outside of Mount Vernon, Washington today. That earthquake occurring somewhat deep at 13.5 kilometers. Of course, there is some specific fault systems up here, the Devil's Mountain Fault, and some other fault systems throughout the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So a lot of seismically active zones up here, but 3.6, this earthquake here was felt by a few folks in the region up here around Mount Vernon. Looks like Oak Harbor picking it up as well, Edmonds, down the shoreline. Just some light to, yeah, it looks like just about some light shaking being reported by all the folks out there who did report feeling that quake earlier. Again, a 3.6 at 13 kilometers there in the Mount Vernon, Washington region. Some activity into the Mount Rainier and also Mount St. Helens area as well. Looks like they're adding a couple of those quakes, folks, that we've been watching and monitoring there on the live recorded seismographs, but nothing what definitely nothing what should be up there. Kind of curious to see what this is looking like today, so we'll go ahead and check out the map. By the way, Trimmer not showing anything for yesterday's activity. Volcanic map here at Mount St. Helens, and we'll pick a yeah, it looks like they're reporting some. Seeing the red circle, red circles. But we'll check out this little yellow triangle there indicating a seismograph station, and check out the recent activity and see what's cooking up there in Mount St. Helens. We're at Mount St. Helens. Hopefully it's not cooking inside. I'm sure it is, but yeah, a little bit of activity. There is the 3.6 near Mount Vernon showing up on the Mount St. Helens station, and that's about right. Let me see here how far of a distance we got here. Mount Vernon way up here to Mount St. Helens, so a 3.6. Yeah, that's about right. I like to monitor the long distant earthquakes there and make sure that these seismograph stations are keyed up properly, and this kind of looks like it is keyed up properly right now in terms of picking up not only the distant earthquakes but local seismic activity. So 3.6 way up north around Mount Vernon, local seismic activity. See, that's what a long distance quake is going to look like. It's going to look a little bit more drawn out. There's still a signature, but it's more flat and kind of drawn out, if you will. Local seismic activity is going to be in this blue, black, red areas, including some of these other little bitty specks on the map. Those are much smaller earthquakes, but there's definitely a good handful of quakes again at Mount St. Helens. Looking at yesterday's activity, seeing a couple spikes there, and if they were to amplify this map a little bit, we would see that these little blue ones right here, see the little, let's see if I can help out a little bit. If they were actually to amplify the data a little bit to inspect these quakes closer, we would see that these little specks there are indeed earthquakes as well, but much, much smaller. So the USGS is reporting, what do they have here for an earthquake? Okay, let's take this 0.5, or yeah, 0.5, pretty small earthquake, right? That one occurred at 23:20. I want to see what that looks like here. 23:20 UTC time. So I'm taking it. It's going to be this one right here, 23:20, roughly right smack here. So that's going to be a 0.5. This one obviously is going to be a little bit smaller, and these other ones much smaller. But there is some activity nonetheless occurring there at the volcano, and a couple other ones here throughout the day today, early this morning as well. So again, no major swarming going on, just a handful of quakes there at Mount St. Helens, which has kind of been ongoing there for a little while. Let's see what we got here. Mount Rainier, we got one earthquake showing up here, a negative earthquake just outside of Mount Rainier. Looks like about 5 miles or so to the west. And down through the Oregon area, some movement into the Cascade Mountain Range, a couple small microquakes, and somewhat deep as well, 18 kilometers for one of those quakes. So a little bit of deeper movement up there in the area of Oregon. Northern California, look at that, it's gone absolutely quiet. Not for sure what's going on up here, but majorly quiet in terms of seismic activity. Down here in Cobb Mountain, they did see some further movement yesterday and last night. Seen a couple threes yesterday, a 3.3 and a 3.4. Starting to get up there in the magnitudes. That's definitely something they don't want to see, right? This is all seismically induced activity. You can look up Calpine on the internet. Calpine Energy Solutions, I believe is what it's called. I was up there a couple months back, kind of investigating what's going on up there, and these hydrothermal plants are everywhere. Look at that massive cluster of them right there. Let's go ahead and zoom in and check out and see what we got here. Again, there's probably, I don't remember how many hydrothermal pump operations are up here, but there's a bunch. And there's pipes everywhere running up alongside the road, heavy-duty pipes that I don't know if it's hauling the steam or the sewage, but there's a whole process here to create energy, and it also involves unfortunate earthquakes. So there's one of the operations down there, and there's many of them scattered about through the land here. It looks like most of those quakes occurring are well within at least two of them here. You got one here, one down there. Again, Calpine Energy, they're at Cobb Mountain, south of Clear Lake. You got the Clear Lake volcanic fields out here. Very active region underneath the ground, and they're utilizing that heat to create energy, but at the same time creating earthquakes. That is a fact, not fear mongering, and definitely not a guesstimate. That is a fact. Eastern, wow, look at the eastern Sierra Nevada. Quiet, folks. I mean, absolutely quiet. Even the Ridgecrest area, really 4 earthquakes. Holy smokes, that is very quiet here. Southern California, the same. After picking up a little bit yesterday, we're looking at a return of very quiet conditions even down south here. So a little on the odd side here for the North American plate. Texas, Pecos, Texas, out here, 3.5 and a 2.6 out in the desert. Got some weather kicking up here, I think today or over the next couple days. So I know these guys are in a drought. It was pretty dry out there in western Texas last time I was out there. It's kind of odd, like a dust bowl. So those guys are definitely needing some rain out there in that area of the state of Texas. In Oklahoma, some movement outside of OKC, McAllister area. And looks like south of Pauls Valley, we got some movement. 2.5, very shallow earthquake out here in the region. Eastern part of the country, there's some movement up here around the Canada area. Someone mentioned about activity kicking up here along the eastern part of the country. How come I'm not talking about it? Well, I'm looking, and I don't see a whole lot. We can even check the EMSC model here and see what we got as far as data goes. Of course, there was some I don't know if it was even a legit earthquake here. A couple days ago, had some movement around where was it, Missouri and Virginia area. As far as looking at the map here, I'm not seeing any significant movement out here along the eastern part of the country, of the states. even on the EMSC model, we're not really seeing anything show up here within this region. So I'm not for sure where you're getting your reporting from, but it's definitely not from an accurate source, and I'm not getting any reports of felt earthquakes out there along the eastern part of the country. So just goes to show, folks, I read all your comments, and I do appreciate the comments, even the negative ones. The negative ones jump in there, kind of keep me on my toes, but it's all good, right? 4.2, look at this, folks. Without even looking at the depth right there, you can kind of see, and I'm kind of curious about this, if this is a legit earthquake or not, because I mean, not legit, but if this is the accurate depth, and we'll check that here in a second. But if it is, that is one of the deepest earthquakes I've seen here in the South America region in a long time. So that's 570 kilometers deep for a 4.2. It has been reviewed, so it looks like that is standing. Historical data activity does show us that movement here in these dark circles, indicating the much, much deeper activity. Let's go ahead and zoom in here, and it's a ways away from the subduction zone. But these plates here interact with each other, even down, way down deep into that subduction area. You get a lot of volcanoes build up the mountains, major subduction zone. And of course, the closer you get over here to the ocean, towards the shore, towards the subduction zone itself, the shallower they become. But we do have this little distinct area that we watch for some major deep movement, and that is kind of what we've seen today. So we've got to watch this area down here along the subduction zone up here around Chile pretty closely, because over the last 7 days, looking at the activity, we've seen quite a bit of deep movement in this region building up here for possibly something much larger. It's been a while since we've seen any major deep movement here along this area of the Peru-Chile Trench. Of course, we had some, I think we had a 7-pointer up here last year. Just for hex, let's go ahead and check out the, I want to search out the catalog and see when the last 7-pointer was in this area. We'll go ahead and go back here. We'll go back since about 1960 or so, and draw a little rectangle on this map here and see what we got. We're going to cover we're going to cover about right here. Let's see what we got. We'll cover inland a little bit. I'm kind of curious though to see what we have in that area recently, because we're looking at quite a bit of deep movement in there, and it doesn't take a lot to build up some major stress in this region. So it looks like 2016, and that was further down south here along this area of the Peru-Chile Trench. It looks like 2016 we had a 7.6. I'm kind of curious though about this area right around where the big one struck back in 1963? 9-pointer? 1960, the 9.5 earthquake, the largest ever recorded earthquake, at least here in historical times, right? So it goes to show you not a whole lot of years pass to create a major buildup here within this region. That's kind of weird. It'd be nice if I was sleeping this late. Yeah, alarm clock went off for some reason. But yeah, 9.5 struck here back in 1960, 25-kilometer depth. Of course, you got to remember, we do see some deep earthquakes, but they're not necessarily the big ones. The big ones build up here along the strain area, upstream, where the locked area is, so to speak, similar to the Cascadia subduction zone, or any subduction zone in that matter. So the area that I'm kind of watching, of course, is right around here where we've seen that 9.5. But we also got to remember there's been some quiet areas, right? Kind of areas where we haven't seen any major release of pressure. And looking at the map here, I'm going to go back over here to the that epicenter. Let's see here. Let's go back here. Kind of within this yeah, kind of within this range right here. See, we're getting that deeper movement right here, but got to remember we're definitely building up some pressure in this zone right here, this quiet area, so to speak. And looking at historical data here, 1997, 2015 we did have a 7.0, but that was that's been a few years now. Looks like we had a couple earthquakes back there in 2015. We had an 8.3, and then looks like an aftershock sequence there, 7.0, a little bit deeper in that region of Chile, just north of Santiago. 7.4 back in 1965, 1971. Again, nothing here above 7.0, and we know this area is definitely capable of at least a 7 or greater. 1983. So a lot of this, some older quakes, 1960. Yeah, it's just got me a little concerned when I start seeing this deeper activity, and we haven't really. I'm trying to think when the last time we've seen some deep movement this deep into the subduction zone. Last 7 days of activity. Not a whole lot there. 30 days. We can go back 30 days and check, see what we got. Definitely nothing this deep. Definitely nothing that deep. 111. I know these other ones aren't anywhere close to that depth. 200 and something. But this here, folks, that's a major deep subduction zone quake. So just got to watch that area. And watching this zone right here, it's right across here, kind of within this region of the deep earthquake. And looking at this area over here, looks like there was some larger deep movement. Look at those depths right there, major. So 1962, so that was after the 1960 earthquake. 1991. I'd like to go back here, and then maybe I'll check that out a little bit later tonight and see what the these deep earthquakes looked like prior to the 1960 9-pointer that struck here into the subduction zone. I'm kind of curious because most of these quakes here are after that that 9-pointer that struck over here. So anyway, I kind of look for little telltale signs of you know, possibly something building up, folks, and then look at historical data, see where they have and haven't had any major release and pressure. And we only went back to about 1960, so there could have been some more quakes here within that zone that I showed you guys, the quiet zone, but it's been building up. 60 years now, over 60 years. All right, moving on here. We gotta remember, with all this quiet activity, we really haven't seen any major uptick. So start getting some deeper movement quakes. It's something to watch pretty closely. Hawaii's really quiet as well. Only 9 earthquakes on this map, and it's been that way for a few days now. So not for sure what's going on, but something's stuck, and something's building, I believe. Fiji has gone very quiet as well. Tonga, Kermadec Trench, all very quiet. I still think we're watching and waiting for something above the 5.0 threshold here. I know we've had a 5-pointer or so within this region, and a couple 2s and 3s down here, and some deeper movement around the Hikurangi subduction zone, but I think we need to watch this area pretty closely for something above the 5. I'm wanting to say at least a 6-pointer within this area. I'm not forecasting, but I'm kind of looking at the areas of very quiet zones and the probability of magnitudes just due to their extreme quietness, and also the adjacent activity that's been taking place up here upstream and also down south here, southwest of this area. Okay, what else we got here? A little bit of movement throughout the Himalaya area and up in Myanmar area. What else we got? Saudi Arabia, that's actually in Iran, 4.1, and some movement up here around Greece once again with a 4.1 in there as well. So Yellowstone, there's not a whole lot going on at Yellowstone National Park. That's a major quiet zone as well. A little bit of activity here. See a couple small spikes, very small though. I'm talking probably under 0.3 in the magnitude department. Overall, no magma movement. Some wind events going on up here in this area of the park. But overall, nothing going on there at Yellowstone, folks. Let me check solar weather. I know I've been extending this update for a little bit, so we'll cut it. Try to get it short. Let's see here. Wow, things have really dropped off here in the solar weather department. Only a 60% chance of C flare, M flare at 15, and 1% or less for the X flare. That's due to the fact that, well, these sunspots are not looking promising in terms of any type of complex operations. They're just kind of just floating along the sun. No major activity to report, folks, and we're looking at very minor conditions for the KP index here over the next couple nights. After that, it looks green for now, but yeah, just kind of mellowing out currently. So we'll see how it goes, folks. Just be prepared. You know, these quiet zones don't last forever. Plate tectonics is always in the works and always building up. It's just you got to watch these quiet conditions, and that's normally the calm before the storm, and that's kind of why it's got me a little bit worried here with this deeper movement in the South America region. So we'll update you guys if anything else decides to pop up. In the meantime, hope everyone does have a good day. We'll be back a little bit later on this evening with the update for tonight. So take care, folks. We'll chat you guys then.